Hey guys, it's lovely to have your company back here on my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. I hope you are well and I hope you're ready for another tutorial where this one, thought what we're going to be doing is I thought let's make a little gift box, but let's make it really simple. Let's make it really cute in the theme of Santa's belly band, and for this one it's going to size 3 of the Yankee Candle wax melts. So I've got three out of 4 of their new Christmas fragrance ones for this year. London Christmas Tea, North Pole Hideaway, which I absolutely love, and then we've also got Big Apple Christmas, which is also lovely. So those are the 3 that we're going to size around. So if I bring in overhead, that is what we're going to do. So we're going to do a nice rectangle box. We're going to do it in red, and then what we're going to do is just a black strip, and then we're going to do a little bit of gold as if it's Santa's belly band. And I just thought it's a really cute little gift box to be making, and really quite simple as well. And we'll talk you around how you want to then size a specific object like we'll do here. As always, thank you so much to everyone that's already subscribed to my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. For those that give me the thumbs up, thank you very much as well. For those that comment, really appreciate as well. Try to get better again at actually replying to those that do leave a comment, or anyway, a question anyway. As I always say, I do see every comment because I get an email with every single comment that has been left. And for those that do hit that bell notification, thank you very much. It is also appreciated. So, shall we dive in? So what we're going to do is the main box itself, we're going to be making from the 12 by 12 textured. So we're going to go in with the warm tones. Now, of course, this is an older pad, so you can use any red card that you want. And then we're also then going to be using some black. I'm just going to reach behind me and get some gold as well. So this is just our gold luxury card, and let's go in. Let's do. No, I was about to say let's do glitter. Let's not. Let's use satin. I won't need much, so I'm just going to take out that little bit there, and then we can get started. So that's what we're essentially going to be using. Now we're going to cut all the little elements to size, but if you wanted to, what you could do, the belt and buckle, use the buckle from the buttons and buckle set and use that one, size it to use that. You've got that option as well. So we might have a little bit of a play with that. However, this is all of the bits that we're going to be needing. Now, what I'm going to do, let me just move that up here, because we need to make the box, we need to size the box. So I always will tend to do boxes at 1 inch deep. This is going to be 1.25 inches just because of the depth. So what we need to take into account is the length plus 1.25 inches plus 1.25 inches, and then we've got the width, so whatever the width is, plus 1.25 inches plus 1.25 inches. So if I bring these down here, so the length of these, so it's just under 8 inches. So essentially it is going to be, I'm going to do this at 8 inches. So that's going to be 8. Remember what I said, so I'm just going to write this down to the side of me while I remember. So we're going to go plus 1.25 inches plus 1.25 inches. So that's 8, 9, 10, and then a half, 10.5. So remember, so that's 8 inches, 1.25 for the height, plus 1.25. So that gives us 10.5 inches. So 10.5 inches, and then the actual height of this is just under the 3 inch mark. So let's say 3 plus 1.25 inches plus 1.25 inches. That then is going to be 5.5. So that's 3, 4, 5 plus the 2 quarters, which is 5.5. So let me write 5.5 down. So that is the size of my card. So I'm going to need a piece of cardstock, 2 pieces for the lid and also the base. So I'm going to need 2 pieces that are 10.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and then we're going to score at 1.25 inches all the way round. So let me bring this just back into here, like so. So if I then come along and I'm just going to bring in my guillotine, and let's cut that. So let's do 5.5 inches. So 5.5 inches, like so. So if I just do that, 5.5 by 10.5. And again, let's do 5.5 by 10.5, like so. And then that's my lid, and also it is my base. So I'm going to start on the base to start with. So let's bring in our scoreboard, and we need to go to the box base side. So I find it easier turning it upside down, as long as it is, of course, on the actual base side. So we need to come in 1.25 inches, and then 1.25. So 1.25 all the way round on the box base side. So there's that there. Now, of course, this centre bit won't be a true measurement because it is the base, but roughly, so that inner rectangle aperture in there is just under 8 inches by just under 3. So I'm going to come down 1/4 inch. So let's do, I'm going to go in 2 3/4 by 7 3/4. What that's going to do is that's just going to create a little bit extra stability within the base there. I'm actually just going to trim that just a teeny little bit, because obviously we need to fold in. So this is going to be the inside. This is where we're going to sit our wax melts in here. So this is a good representation here. So 8 inches plus 1.25 plus 1.25, and then you've got 3 inches plus 1.25 plus 1.25. So that's how you then work out your measurements for a specific product, or, you know, gift. The width plus the side, the height plus the side plus the side. So that is that one. And then what I'm going to do as well is, let's do mats and layers for the side. Because it's going to be Santa's belly band, a lot of it's going to be black with a little bit of gold, so the black's going to work a real treat. So let's, for this one, let's trim the edges the same width as that centre bit. Now these little panel strips here are, they are essentially just over 1.25. So I'm going to turn that one around, and I'm going to come just under 1.25. Not 1.25. Yeah, it is 1.25. I've just cut it wrong there. I've done 1 3/4. That's what I done wrong. So let's do that, because I'm only wanting just a little matting layer all the way around. I'm going to just trim a teeny little bit more. It's easier on the box lid because that is a true measurement, whereas the base, because it's not a true measurement, you just kind of have to take little bits off depending on the mats and layers that you want. Yeah, happy with that one. So where did I cut that one on? So it's round about at that point there. So let's line up and then cut. So the same. Let's just match that up. I'm just going to go flat on my desk here just so that I can check and see. So I just need to take a little slither off that one I just done there. Like so. So that's going to be the inside, and then these are going to go on the outside. Now for there and there, the width needs to be the same, so I can use this little, actually, there we go, I could use this little bit. So let me do, what did I say that way? I've just gone and done it there and I can't even remember. Let's just take, there we go. So just under the 1 1/4, like so, just under the 1 1/4. Let me just see. Yep, perfect. And then of course the length of that is just under the 3" mark. So let's come just under 2 3/4. Should be fine. Just under 2 3/4. There we go. Perfect. Well, it should be, hopefully. We shall wait and see. So essentially that's the base done, because I don't want to, you know, you could do little mats and layers with gold and that if you want to, but I'm not going to, of course. I'm going to keep it as it is. So let's assemble our base. So I'm going to assemble the base together, and then let's pop that around, and then what I'm going to do is let's just bring in my red liner for this one. So this is a thick red liner from Stix2. So what I shall do, as always, if it's something they still have in stock, I shall link it in the descriptions. If not, then you can of course just use either your tacky glue, or you can use some of your other width of your red liner tape, and then just do a couple of strips on each bit. And there we go, like so. So that is now that. So let me cut my little angles out here and then here, as if we usually do when it comes to box making, just exactly the same. Like so. What I am going to do though is I'm just going to get my other red liner and just finish this off, because obviously the box we've done it at 1 1/4 inches, and that thick red liner tape that I've used is just 1 inch, so therefore it doesn't quite go to the edge. So let's do that. There we go. So because you would want to make sure that we've got a really nice flat and flush edge when it comes to the box. So I'm just going to press that in. So therefore, so this is going to be the inside. So let's bring in our red liner tape. I don't know where my other tapes go. Oh no, gosh, this happened in my, was it my last tutorial, wasn't it? I used the last of my 12mm tissue tape, and I've still forgotten to go into the cupboard and get some. No, not to worry, just going to use my 3mm. Still does the job. So let's take these off here. So always remember to, if you're matting and layering your base, always remember to look, because this panel goes in the middle and then the strips that we've done goes on the outside, unless you want to mat and layer on the inside. So that's going to be the inside there. Just finishes it off, neatens it up, but what it also does as well is it just strengthens it, because that is a 230 GSM. So, you know, it is fine for boxes, but it just strengthens it. So if we turn that over, and now we can add our strips on here. Now you use your tape runner if you want to, or of course use your tacky glue. Usually you'll tend to see me using my tacky glue with box making, but I'm just using my tape for some reason. It's not that I don't use tape, you know, you guys know it's my preferred adhesive, but I get it. It can be not time consuming, but it can add a little bit extra time over just your wet glue or your tape runner. You'll be using whatever you want. So these black mats and layers, if you're going to be making this project, your black mat and layers on the box base, you're going to have to just do a little bit of trimming yourself by eye, because your base isn't a true representation of your measurements, because we all know the box base is slightly different, slightly smaller. So I'm just going to take that one here. So if I take that, let's mat and layer that in there, and then let's do the same here. So let's mat and layer that on. So this is what I was meaning before, how you could, if you wanted to, do a little mat and layer of gold as well, but I'm not. I don't actually want too much gold. I want to keep the gold for where it's needed, and that's going to be Santa's belt buckle. So let's pop that there. Just trim that a little bit, like so. Let's then bring that one, like so. And of course, if you want to mat and layer the base, you could do. It's entirely up to yourself. I'm not going to. So let's put that into there, and then let me also just neaten that edge. So now that we've got our box base, let me then come along and let's assemble it. Let me take that little bit off here. So just grab that with your pokey tool, just into the corner and take off. Getting in there. Now I like to take the red liner tape all off in a winner. If you want to just do it in little sections, of course you can, that's no problem. So let's press that in. Now if you are going to put black mats and layers on the inside, this is where you'll need to assemble it first before you put these side panels on, because if you put your side panels on the inside first, you're going to come along and you're ending up going to cover it because of these tabs. So just keep that one in mind. I'm just going to then trim that little bit there. So there we go. There is our box, which essentially is 8 by 3 inches. Now the moment of truth, which I am very, very, very confident is going to work. So let's do 1, 2, 3. There you go. So that fits perfectly. And then what we would do, and we will do it just shortly, is we'll put a glue dot underneath just to hold it in. So let's move that one out of the way, and then let's come to our box lid. So as we've done before, but this time it is on the box lid side. So we're scoring at 1 1/4 and 1 1/4 all the way round. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do black mats and layers for each side. I'm not going to do it for there. Well, we are, but we're going to do it slightly different just shortly. So if I take some more black card, so because these ones now are true measurements, that means they are exactly 8 inch and 3 inch. So let's do it's 1 1/4. So let's just do 1 inch. Let's do it the easier way. So let's just go up to 1/4 inch. Doesn't matter what 1/4 inch you're on. So we're on at 11 1/2. So let's come down 1 inch. Let's come down 1 inch. Let's then come down 1 inch, and then come down 1 inch. So it's going to be for the sides. We'll sort that in a minute. Now, because that is, of course, 3 inches, I don't want my black panel to be that strip. I'm wanting just to be like a belt band down there. So if I was to do that, let's do, I'm going to try 1 1/2 inches. Think that might be fine. So if I was to do 1 1/2 inches, like so, yeah, and then because that is 8 inches, let's trim that to 8 inch. So that will go across like so. It'll all come together just shortly. So this one, so because that in there, that little section there is 8 inches, let's do 7 3/4. Let me double check. Yep, that one can be the same, 7 3/4. And then for the side ones, which are 3 inches, let's do 2 3/4 and 2 3/4. I don't need that, and I don't need that. So let's bring these ones in here, and then bring in the tape. So depending on what layers you do, how many layers you do, how much you decorate, it's quite a simple and straightforward box. And maybe you don't know what to get them for Christmas. You know they love fragrance, they love nice smells, they love wax melts. Certainly can't go wrong with the Yankee Candle ones. I have to say, I openly say this, I can be a bit of a candle snob. I'm not a fan of Yankee Candles home range, the ones that you get in the supermarkets. I know they're still Yankee Candles, but I just do not feel the quality and the fragrance is there, so I don't waste my money on them. You can get yourself some of these Yankee Candle packs and then make your own. I'm going to do this red liner tape. This time I'm going to come right to this far edge to save popping a little bit on. Let's put that to the end, and then just carrying on till we've done all four corners, like so. So if I take that bit off, and then let's fold and burnish. Now you can add your tape, then fold and burnish, or you can fold and burnish, and then add your tape. So up to yourself. So we're working our way round. A good crease. So because that's going to go on the outside, let's pop these in here. Now what would be nice is that you could emboss these with your embossing folders. That would be a good idea. That would look really quite smart. Even a textured embossing folder, or maybe even something like, I don't know, a knitted jumper embossing folder. Something like that. Where you can do your own inky backgrounds or pattern paper. Maybe you've got kind of like candy cane pattern paper, red and white stripes. Right, let's come in with that one, like so. So if I then take these last little bits up, so I'm still going to decorate the whole lot before we assemble, because it's still easier. There we go. So if I then take the little notches out, there, and there. So carry on each of these bits, and just take that, pop that in the bin. There, and then there, and then there, and then there. So that's us ready to, of course, assemble the box. But before we do that, let's bring in this strip, which is going to go through the middle here. I'm just going to give that such a teeny tiny little trim. Teeny tiny. There we go. And then this is where, as I was saying, you can use the belt buckle. Now you would just cut that a little bit shorter to use that belt buckle if you want to. And then you've got that little one that you can use too. But if you've not got the belt and buckles, what we could do, so if I come along with my square nesting dies, so I want one that is that same width there, and then there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5 and 6 from the edge. There we go. So let's then take a bit of gold. bring those in there, and then I'm going to bring my tape in. This is just my stencil tape, low tack tape. And we're going to line that up. Now you can do them separately if you want to. You know me, as long as they're taped down. Let's bring in our mini. Do you know what I will do? So if I bring that in from the belt and buckle, I mean that's easy enough to cut yourself, just a tiny little rectangle. But let's, do you know what I could do as well? If so I want a couple of tiny little dots, don't I? For, of course, the little belt loops. So I know there's teeny little circles within the shakers. So if I go back to that one, and this one here, little circle one from the shakers, if I use that, let me just pop that in the middle because I don't need that middle bit of gold. And the large circles from this set we can use. So let's take that one around. So let's take these little bits out here. So we've got, so that actually needs to be much thicker. So let's take, so I still want that same die, so that one, but instead of the next size up, I'm wanting the next size up. There we go, that's going to be better. And then there's the little dots, it's the largest ones, just a few of the largest ones that I'm going to need. So let's just take that out, those little bits out, and that one out. There we go. Take that, and I don't need that one now. So let's go back to another bit of gold cardstock, making sure it's going to be big enough. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's square. It's just a little bit too thin. We want a nice, thick, chunky buckle, like Santa's would be. That away. This is where, you know, although I chose not to use the gold glitter, it would still look nice if you used the gold glitter. Make it really blend and stand out. So I shall let you at home decide whether you're going to do that yourself. Yeah, there we go. Actually, still not right. So let's go back to the drawing board. So let's take one less smaller in that original outline. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop them all back, and then I will recount them and tell you again which ones I'm using. The reason being, you know, there's still a bit of red showing, and I don't want that. There we go. So here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've used number 4 and 6 from the inside. 4 and 6. So take 3. Let's see if this is going to be what we need. So tape that down, tape that down. And then there we go. Should be what we need now. I'm going to move that one out the way and then take in this one here. There we go, spot on. That is it. That's what we need, or that's what I want anyway. I think it looks better. It's the right size. It's not too big, it's not too small either. Pop them away, pop them away. So let's bring that in here. Now on one of them, let me pop a little bit of tape just down roughly within the middle, and then this rectangle, what I'm going to do again, roughly within the middle, I'm just going to create my own belt buckle like so, and then let's trim. There we go. So I've got a cute little buckle that you can see here, and then actually, do you know what we'll do is let's lift that on foam pads. I've got my really nice thin foam pad strips, so if I take that one, work that all the way round, including there, because we want to give that little notch a nice base. I want to stick that down too. We don't want that to fall off or get knocked off. So let's go into here. There's a tiny little bit left, so that can go into that little section there. And there we go. So that's going to be great. That's going to go into place. So therefore, let's bring in our tape again, or your own choice of adhesive, entirely up to yourself. And this is going to go in the centre. Let's take that now. Let's run that as close to the centre as we can possibly get. Look at that, me getting my hat in the way. So I think that's that. And then, I'll tell you what, let's assemble it before we're finished. We've got our main flat layers on. There we go. So let's join that in there. And all these layers, including this belly band strip, is going to also add stability. Let's press that in. Now if you want to make it all nice and pretty, you could, if you wanted to, take your pattern paper if you want. So there's our little, what do you call it, belt strap, and then either take the buckle from the belt and buckles, or buttons and buckles, and then let's go there. I'm trying to do it so you can see without sticking my hat in the way. I'm actually going to go at the side so I can centralise that. So I want to go roughly the 4-inch mark. So it's roughly round about there. There we go. That's it. Perfect. And then if I take, so these dots are going to go that way, aren't they? 1, 2, and let's do 3, like so. How stinking cute is that? You always get, you know, there's always loads and loads of little holes in there for the belt. Nah, let's stick that with the 3. And then let's take my glue. I've not used this for a few days, so clogged up. Let me just take my little teeny bit of a wire. And there's my pickup tool. There we go. And the thing is, you could use gems if you wanted to, or little pearls if you wanted to, or little brads. You can do that. And then there we go. How cute is that? I think that is so, so cute. Really, really is. Do you know what I'm going to do as well? Just because I've got 3 medium ones left over, just to add that kind of faux kind of rivet into the corner. And of course, the glue, your tacky glue, will dry clear. There we go. There we are. Just gives it that little, looks like a little bit of embossed rivet detail. And that's it. That is that. So, moment of truth. Come along here. Here we go. Isn't that cute? Really, really cute. Really, really dinky. So let's take them out there and let's go in with, where is my, let me just find it. So all that I'm doing is taking glue dots. There we go. So I'm just going to go in with glue dots. So if you want to hold them in place, then this is the way that you can do that. So just take glue dots. So I'm just going to take that off. So let's go in with 1. Take that off as well. Let's go. Let's take that excess off. Just if you stick the glue dot on that and that little bit comes away, then it's still just going to then fall all over the place. There's that one, there's that one, and then last but by no means least, let's go in with this one. Glue dot as well. There we go. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put another glue dot on because I've actually just caught the edge of that one. So let's do it again. There we go. I'm going to put this red one in the middle. So let's just set that in. There's that one. And then that one as well. Just into place here. And then there you go. You can see the stay in place, but still really quite easy just to prise out. Now of course you could add, as I said during this tutorial, pattern papers. You can do additional bits and pieces if you want to, but I just thought keeping it really quite simple. Imagine even if you were to sell that, maybe add a little tag, whatever you want you can add to it. But really, really cute, really dinky. It's Santa's kind of belt band for 3 little Yankee Candles. So that was North Pole Hideaway, Big Apple Christmas, and London Christmas Tea. There we go. So I do hope you've enjoyed that one. hope you've liked that. Now what you could do as well, if you're going to adapt it or change it, or whether you're just going to do exactly what I'm going to do, make sure as always you tag me on social. It's always lovely. See, you don't have to, don't feel as though you have to, but please do feel free to if you do want to, because it's always nice to see how you take whatever I do within these tutorials and do it exactly as it is, or maybe of course just change it slightly or a lot. I do love to see. So there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed that one, and I will see you again very soon right here on my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. Doodles!